All right, there. Hello. Now, welcome to Live with Lisa. This is an accountability show, and I have some things I would like to show you. So, I'm just going to get right started. Here is my opening. All right, shrink, and this is just fun. I'm figuring this out. That was my show for the other thing. I think I'm gonna have to get this a little bit smoother than this, but anyway, um, I want to go to another one I should have set up here. What is this show about? The show about is about tonight's show. Is I haven't done one in a long time. Since I went off on the Roy Moore rigging of Roy Moore, because as anybody who's watched any of my videos knows, a lot of my videos um, are circulated around the I'll try putting it over here. It's a little bit more similar to my other ones because I think we're just getting this thing figured out here at some point. Okay, so here's the deal. I started doing videos. Oh gosh, in the '90s. I did one about relationships. I went around and I asked people. And my girlfriend and I, we sat out on the. Let's see. Here we go. I think I'm a little bit better here. Um, we went around and set up. Let's see. Quick time float. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. So we went around and we down to the waterfront in Portland, Oregon. That's where I lived in Portland, and asked men all the same question, and we asked women all the same question, and we asked them to finish the sentence. I hate it. If you're a woman, we'd ask you to say, I hate it when men blank, whatever. And they would fill in the blank. I hate it when men spit, and then we'd ask men, I hate it when women do whatever. And they'd say all sorts of things. I hate it when women talk about their old boyfriends. So it was really fun. It was called Can't Live With Them, Can't Kill Them. And then we put it on public access. And this is in the '90s before we had the internet. Can put up anything up on YouTube. And I would get stopped in public places, and people would tell me how much girls would tell me how much they loved the show, because it's the way women talk. We just talk like that. We just let me get this a little straighter. We just do. We talk that way. I gotta get this. It's driving me nuts. Kind of want this to be like I'm looking in the same spot, and it's not really working because I'm doing live and I'm also doing this for editing purposes later. Okay, so anyway, we did that, but every man that ever saw the show told me to a man that it was a man hater show. So I realized I needed to do something different if I wanted to discuss the issues between men and women, and what men and translate what men think to women and what women think to men. Excuse me. Note to self: I probably should have some water, some liquid when I'm doing these shows. But anyway, so I started doing my own show, and I knew I needed a man. Story of my life. I had to get a different man for every show because I couldn't find one man that wanted to be the co-host of a relationship show. I don't know why, but anyway, so I did a different, which actually turned out to be a huge blessing because I got wide varieties of perspectives from different men that were doing co-hosting the show with me. Now, the qualifications for co-hosting the show was that the man had to be single, because I tried having men that were married or men that were in serious relationships, and one guy in a serious relationship had all his belongings placed on the front doorstep when he returned from the show that night. because he hadn't talked about his girlfriend. Well, the show is not about him talking about his girlfriend. It's about him talking about what he thinks about women. And men that are married or in a serious relationship will say what they think the woman that they're with wants them to say, not necessarily what they really think. And so since we were endeavoring to translate man talk to women and women talk to men, that didn't work. And then I'd also joke and I'd say, well, I'm single and I always like meeting single men. So there it is. So anyway, I did that, and that was a lot of fun. So I started doing the show, and I did it like once every 2 weeks. And pretty soon, after a few years of doing this, my sons were older. They were in high school, and so it was really funny. It would have been a fabulous reality TV show. So my sons and their friends, I would bribe them with sushi to come and crew my show. They would run cameras. They would run the soundboard. They would run the video editor. And my oldest son would answer the phones, which didn't work out too terribly well because sometimes he would say, he'd answer the phone and when he just wasn't feeling it and say, you're paying for cable. Why are you watching this show? And I'm like, honey, that doesn't help. Mom needs to have people calling in. Otherwise, it's not a very interesting show. Got to have two-way conversation. So anyway, it was a lot of fun, very popular. I get stopped on the streets all the time from people telling me how much they love the show. But then I started to notice some really scary stuff going on that was not being reported in the news. And especially when I ran for, I'd run for state legislature in 2000 during the 2000 election, remember the recount. And I realized that we'd just gone to all vote by mail fraud. That's what I call it, all vote by mail fraud in Oregon. There were no polling places, no places to go in the neighborhood and go meet your friends and go, walk into a booth and vote. No, you got the ballot in the mail. You and your dog and your cat, your long dead relatives, underage children, people that have moved out of the house, people that are still living in there for voting purposes, still residing in their college dorm fraternity or sorority. Cartoon characters, anybody and everybody can now be registered to vote if it's all vote by mail fraud. And that's what it is in Oregon. That's what it is in Washington State. That's what it, for all intents and purposes, is in California. And that, my friends, is why the West Coast is called the Left Coast. So, in any case, I want to take you a little tour of memory lane on YouTube. And the reason is because YouTube has issued me a warning that if I do not have 4,000 hours of viewing and 1,000 subscribers by the 20th of February 2018, I'm losing my ability to place ads on my videos. Now, I quit placing ads on my videos, or to most of them, about a year or two ago because I realized they were defrauding me. Because here's what they do. They pay people that have these AdSense accounts based on how many people watch their videos and how many minutes they watch the videos. So, if they just lock down and make it look like nobody watched your videos. Sorry, nobody watched your videos. Not one person. Not one person. Not one new person in a year has watched this video. It's one of the top on the search under this very popular topic, but not one person. Oh, and the video below you on this very popular search has 6 million views, but yours is still stuck at 20,000 views. So essentially, I am in the advertising business. I've sold television, radio, cable time. I've worked at ad agencies all along the West Coast, San Francisco, LA, Portland, and now in Kansas City. And I know how these things work. They are charging, there's a lot of internet digital fraud. Everybody tells you, oh, you got to go digital. Oh, you got to advertise on digital. If I have a nickel for how many times I go in and talk to a client about advertising and they say, oh, I'm all digital. Well, isn't that just hunky-dory? You can't prove a thing. You can't translate. You can tell how many people clicked and saw your ad, but that doesn't necessarily translate into how many people actually came in and bought it or clicked on it because they wanted to go follow it and go find your stuff. It's all smoke and mirrors as far as I'm concerned. Some videos they found, Some people have researched it, and then they've looked further, deeper into how many clicks or how many ads they've seen, and they've seen looked for the size of the ad that was seen on this one particular whatever platform, and they found that the dimensions of the ad are 0 by 0. So it was not really an ad that was seen. So what I believe is happening, I believe YouTube is doing, is I believe they are charging the clients for watching my video, and they are they're charging the clients for watching the video, but yet they're not attributing that view of the that they're charging to the advertiser to me, to my website, to my YouTube account. So therefore, they don't have to pay me for bringing viewers to my video and attracting viewers so that they can sell the advertising time to the advertiser. But they're charging the advertiser. That's what I believe is happening, because it doesn't make sense. And it's all content that they don't really like. So I think I know why this is all happening. There's a fella that just left the parent company of YouTube, and that would be the CEO of Google, because Google owns YouTube. So he left, and I want to tell you a little bit more about the fact that Eric Schmidt, I believe his name is, he left, and I think this is why he left. So I'm going to show that to you. Let me shrink this down a little bit. Okay. This is an executive order blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuses. Okay? I'm going to try to do this on my live stream and kind of go over this. Let's see. Can we do this live stream? Oh, I think I can do it. Let's see. Okay. I'm doing this in my... Okay, now you can see. All right, good. Okay, so this is the executive order on the White House website, and I'm going to kind of go through it and what it says. Came out on December 21st, the same day Eric Schmidt decided to pull up roots and vacate the premises at Google. Okay, it says, by the authority vested in me as president, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, including the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, 50 U.S.M. 1701, established sequential, blah, blah, blah. The National Emergency Act 50, the Global Magnitsky Human Rights Accountability Act, section, and anyway, it identifies the pertinent laws that gives Donald Trump, our president, the right to do what he's doing in this executive order. Okay, so it says, it's very fascinating. Got very little, if any news in the lame stream, fake stream. A friend of mine said Soros stream media. I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, find that the prevalence and severity of human rights abuse and corruption that have their source in whole or in substantial part outside the United States, such as those committed or directed by persons listed in the annex to this order, have reached such scope and gravity that they have threatened the stability of international political and economic systems. Human rights abuse and corruption undermine the values that form an essential foundation of stable, secure, and functioning societies, have devastating impacts on individuals, weaken democratic institutions, degrade the rule of law, perpetrate violent conflicts, facilitate activities of dangerous persons, and undermine economic markets. The United States seeks to impose tangible and significant consequences on those who commit serious human rights abuse or engage in corruption, as well as to protect the financial system of the United States from abuse by these same persons. Okay, now I'm going to go up a little bit here. Okay. Therefore, determined that serious human rights abuse and corruptions around the world constitute an unusual and extraordinary threat to national security, foreign policy, and economy of the United States. And I hereby declare a national emergency. Let me say that again. I hereby declare a national emergency to deal with that threat. I hereby determine and order all properties and interests in property that are in the United States that hereafter come within the United States, or hereafter come within the possession or control of any United States persons of the following persons are blocked and may be transferred, paid, exported, withdrawn, or otherwise dealt in. The persons listed in the annex to this order is one group that gets the property seized. The property is being seized. He has declared a national emergency and is seizing the property of these evil, corrupt people that are, I believe, primarily dealing in human trafficking, all sorts of chicanery and human rights violation, abuse of children, pedophilia. I mean, it's about as scary as you could possibly get. It's so scary, in fact, that people in polite company would never even discuss it. So the one group is the group that was in the annex. Second group is any foreign persons determined by the Secretary of Treasury in consultation with the Secretary of State and the Attorney General to be responsible for or complicit in or have directly or indirectly engaged in serious human rights abuse, i.e., this is my little commentary, pedophilia. It's human trafficking, which apparently is just out of control. To be a current or former government official or a person acting for or on behalf of such an official who is responsible for or complicit in or has directly or indirectly engaged in. Now, these are the types of things that they're the kind of corruption they're talking about. Corruption, including the misappropriation of state assets, the expropriation of private assets for personal gain, corporation related to government contracts, or the extrication of natural resources, or bribery. That is some of the crimes. Okay, now there are two of the crimes. To transfer or the facilitation of the transfer of proceeds of the corruption. So they deal with the corruption, and they've listed all the types of corruption. So if you're an elected official and you use your government, your place in government to profit yourself and your family or whoever, they're going to come after your money. To be here to C. Okay, so let's see what B was. So we get the categories. Maybe B was the foreign persons. Any person. Okay, current. Okay, these are the types of persons that they're going after. So they've listed those two. C, to be or have been a leader or official of an entity, including a government entity that has engaged in or whose members have engaged in any of the activities described in subsection above of this section relating to leaders or officials, tenure or. An entity whose property and interests in property are blocked pursuant to this order as a result of activities related to the leaders or leaders' official tenure, or, this is really going after crooked politicians, to have, and now D, this is another group, to have attempted to engage in any activities described in subsection A of this thing. Okay, any person any person, let me get this thing all figured out. Any person determined by the Secretary of State in consultation with the Secretary of State to have materially assisted, sponsored, or provided financial material or technical support for any goods or services to or in support of any activity described in subsections blankety blankety blank. Okay, any person whose property and interests in property are blocked pursuant to this order. So they're basically taking everybody's money who's corrupt. Any entity, including any government entity that has engaged in or whose members have engaged in any of the activities described in these sections of this section where the activity is conducted by a foreign person. I got to find out what these little A's and all these things that we're saying. To be owned or controlled by, or to have, let's see, to be owned or controlled by, or to have acted or purported to act on or on the behalf of, directly, indirectly, any person whose property and interests in property are blocked pursuant to this order. To have attempted to engage in any of the activities described in these sections. The prohibition, now the B down here. The prohibition is subsequent is in subsection A of this section apply excerpt to the extent. Anyway, I want to go back to. I got to find out what all these lists are. The things that they're saying that they get. I don't want to go on to this forever. Subsection. Okay, so that's these. They're all foreign people. These people that are on the list, but it's open to a whole bunch of other people. These are just the starting points. Okay, here are. Okay, we already read those. Persons listening annex, a foreign person. Subsection A. Okay, I think that's really where we're at. Any persons from okay. So, alrighty. Now, I want to go to. Let's see. All right, now I want to go to. This is that one. Okay, this is. I think I already did this one. Okay, so the very first video that I did way back in 2007 was this one, and it had pretty poor quality, and YouTube was pretty new, and they were trying to figure out how to do everything and stuff. But this one is, let's see. This one, I went to this place where they were openly, the government with our taxpayer money was holding these carousels of information for people that did not speak English so that they could get them signed up for welfare. I'm sure we think that they were registering them to vote, and just getting on any public services they can so they could become dependent on the government, and so they could use their identity even if they weren't registering them there. They could, once they got their identity set up in the system, they could use their identity to vote for keep voting their liberal Democrats into the office in Oregon. And I tried to infiltrate there and go in, get in line so I could go into the place to see what exactly was being offered these people. And I got kind of scarily attacked by these thugs at this thing. I think they were SEIU members, but let me show you what happened. It was kind of scary. You can hear my breath. I'm kind of like breathing heavy.
To get a driver's license in the state of Oregon.
It's Victoria Taft, great gal, friend of mine. She's a radio show.
For the driver's license in the state they choose to live in, and then from there they get all their benefits.
I took a video camera and tried to follow a gal who wanted to see what was going on inside and wanted to see about how she could get registered. And she was denied access by the protesters. They were being abusive and rude.
Oh, we're trying to keep these.
What are you trying to keep wrong? Let me get a video of you. Let me get some video of you.
No, hey, come on.
Okay.
Look, this is
Okay, well, you can't touch my camera.
I'm not touching you.
Why are all these people in line? Maybe you can explain to me why.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. You were on private property.
Really? Who's the private property owned by?
Owned by the Farm Workers Union.
So y'all are farm workers union members?
Or we're going to have to ask.
Oh, I'm leaving. Okay, is this private property? This is on the sidewalk. This is not private property. Good luck in this one.
Man, you can't pee in the bushes there. You can't pee.
Write an article for the Alliance.
They're encouraging illegals to come to our state, get a license, because it is okay to get a license if you're not an American citizen. Actually, follow the laws of our country, which dictate through HAVA and the Real ID Act that you need to be a citizen. You need to be able to show proof of citizenship in order to get your driver's license, and you need to show proof of citizenship before you're allowed to have the privilege to vote in this state and in this country.
4 years after
Thank you.
9/11, his sick friends can still come here and get a license. We're the only state west of the Mississippi where terrorists can still get a driver's license and appear legal. This guy was pulled over 2 days before 9/11 because he obtained this license. He was let go. If he had to show his expired visa, maybe he would have been detained. Maybe 9/11 wouldn't have happened. Why does the state use our money to help people that have broken the law appear to be here legally? Why?
We're on his way to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. We need to straighten his license up. We went down to the DMV in Coos Bay, and while he was standing there, they were telling him he's going to have to take a test. He had to do this, he had to do that. And then when they found out about the seatbelt ticket in California, they wouldn't give him his driver's license. Meanwhile, 6 illegal aliens went up right to the window right next to him. And every time they answered, as soon as I got to the part where, do you have a Social Security card? They said no. They said, here, sign this. They had a license then. Jason Hill is a combat veteran from Iraq.
So obviously a citizen of the United States.
Yeah, he was born. Yeah, well, not only that, he's a Navy brat. He's a Navy brat himself. And when they found out that he didn't pay the ticket because he was in Iraq, they said, oh, well, they cleared it up by computer. We went back to the DMV. Meanwhile, this steady parade of illegal aliens are going by him. And they started hassling him about a parking ticket from 10 years ago in Boston. He still didn't get a license. He left Coos Bay, pissed off, and on his way to South Carolina on his German international license. He's just stopped messing with it. Meanwhile, I must have saw at least 12 illegal aliens get a Oregon driver's license simply by saying they didn't have a Social Security card. Here, sign this. They signed and they were gone.
He is your son?
Oh, yeah.
This is your son? You must be very proud of him.
Oh, yeah, he's tough.
God bless.
Okay, so that one, that is, that is my very first video. That was 2007, as you can see. So I've been doing these videos. I've got hundreds of videos to figure out where to put this thing without, so I don't look like I'm just looking at both of them. But, so, hello, online. So anyway, so I've been doing them since 2007. I've got like 5 different channels. You can look up Lisa Michaels in Oregon and you can find bunches of them. And they're going to take me down. So I really could use your help. Here's what I'd like you to do. I would like you to please watch some of these videos. There's lots of them. Just go to my channel and pick out a video. I've got videos, fascinating videos on unreported news. I just started doing it on my show. And then I'd start to run into people that would recognize me from the show in Oregon, and I'd say, well, I love your show. And I said, well, which one, the political one or the relationship one? Oh, the relationship one. So everybody loved the relationship one. I tried to get the TV stations here in Kansas City to hire me to do my TV show here. It's very inexpensive, and I think it would be very popular, but as of yet, to no avail. But anyway, so this is what I need you to do. I need you to watch a video. Before you watch a video, please, on one of my channels, please take careful note of exactly how many views have viewed that video before you watch it. Then watch it, go to another video, then come back to the same video if you can. I know it's kind of a little bit of a pain. And if you don't see the number of views go up one after you've watched it, then please write that in the comments. Say I watched it. It started at blank number and it ended at blank number. And then like it with the thumbs up. Yeah, please. And so if I have more thumbs up than they say I have views, then you definitely know that there's something rotten in Denmark, and there's something rotten actually, wherever it is in Silicon Valley. But anyway, I think just desserts. So don't you think that executive order that the news media just doesn't want to talk about? And then you can't then look up how many CEOs of major companies. I think the guy, the head of Chipotle, the head of, I think it was Panera Bread, maybe Starbucks or something. I don't want to besmirch anybody, so you go do the research yourself. Learning by doing is always the best way. So don't listen to the crazy Lisa on the YouTube. Do your own research, as I have done, and you will see the corruption is pervasive. And I'm praying that Donald Trump will indeed release the memo, which will expose a lot of the chicanery that's going on. And also, so anyway, that is, I'm just gonna, I don't want this to go on 30 minutes. Ouch, that's longer than I thought it was gonna be. I have other videos. I might just kind of go through them real quick. Let's see what happened here. Okay, this is a good video for, if you want to watch any of my videos, this is a good, this one is from 2017. This is the gal. She's English. I'll just let you listen to a couple words.
I've been involved in watching the election process now for several years. I'm a witness to the public test, and I've been asking questions, and particularly when the Help America Vote Act.
So anyway, this is Ruth Bendel. She's a great patriot, a great advocate for fair and honest elections. She came here the legal way from the United Kingdom, and she knows what it takes to become a U.S. citizen. And she's the first person, I'll never forget, we were working on this election fraud issue. We went out to lunch one day towards the end of the election in 2008. And when Obama was running and won, and she said, there's people, there's somebody, she knew somebody who lived in Kenya, and said everybody in Kenya knows the guy is from Kenya, was born in Kenya, and they don't understand why we're allowing him to be president. He's not natural born citizen under the Constitution. So I started looking into it. I thought it'd be an interesting topic. So I got a friend of mine and it was kind of in vogue to dress up like Sarah Palin. So I got some Sarah Palin glasses, and he looked a little bit like John McCain. And we did this video. And this is that video. I've showed you before a lot of that. This one is, let's see, even more. This is the last one. I'll just show you a little bit of this one too.
Negligent in their ability to do their job. This has been the worst year I've ever seen. News media not being able to figure out how to do their job. I don't know if they're being blackmailed. I don't know where they got a dog in this hunt. But this cannot stand. And we American citizens have got to stand up. And here's what you can do. You can write your congressman. You can write your senator. You can write the Supreme Court justices, especially Clarence Thomas and some of these other ones, some of Justice Breyer, any of these people, and you need to write them a letter and tell them that this cannot stand. We have a Constitution. The Constitution means something. And if we're not going to stand up to the bare minimum, he even says in his own book, he takes audacity of hope. He takes issue with whether or not you should be a strict constructionist. That means strictly adhere to what's said in the Constitution, not read into it whatever you want it to say. He says, who's right? I am not unsympathetic to Justice Scalia's position, who wants to have it exactly what it says in the Constitution. After all, in many cases, the language of the Constitution is perfectly clear and can be strictly applied. We don't have to interpret how often elections are held, for example, or how old a president must be. And whenever possible, judges should do as closely as possible to the clear meaning of the test. Well, it can't be any more clear than you must be a natural-born citizen, which is along with the same definition as how old a president must be, which he says in his own book, should be strictly interpreted.
Well, another thing, this is a small point, but the fact is that when the blacks turned out en masse to vote for Barack Obama, they thought they were supporting a black man. The blacks in this country that began in the 1800s, 1700s, 1800s, and were brought over here. They were West African blacks, but they were true black Africans in our American sense of the word. Quite frankly, Barack is a Arab African. He's not a black African. And I would think that the black people should feel just a little bit defrauded in their own. That they don't have a black man; they've got an African Muslim.
Half African Muslim.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right, half.
Yeah,
African
he's half African. He's half.
Now I know that's a small point.
Perpetually peach person. I don't think we're actually seriously white.
No, but the point is that.
Okay, well, that one, I don't know. The political correct police probably will go after you on that, me on that one. But that's another one from 2008. If you do a search, Barack Obama not a natural born citizen, I'm just going to click on this to do a search to see where it comes up. The very first one is this one, still stuck at 20,000 views. The third one is my second part, and that one's 7,000 views. This one in the middle, this one's got 229,000. And the one below both of mine has got 6 million views. You don't think they're freezing the views on this? You just put in those words, Obama not a natural born citizen, and see if you don't see. Then, the first time I did this to reveal this, there was 41,000 results based on this exact same search. Now there's only 20,000. They're just messing with all the analytics. And now they're trying to deny me my ability to sell ads, and they're not giving me money. I've had all these videos on here for years, and I've had AdSense on them for most of them, and twice. They only have to pay you if you get enough have enough views to get paid $100. I've gotten paid $100 twice, not more than $100, just $100. And I think they're charging the advertisers to really do. Okay, if you want to learn, this one's got actual proof of election fraud, where they I'll show you a little bit of that one too. Okay.
Billed for their printing of their ballots for major general elections in the new year, almost 4 months after the ballots were delivered to these counties. In the 2012 general election, Washington County ordered roughly 338,000 ballots, despite only having about 292,000 registered voters. Yet, when Ryder Graphics finally delivered their print invoice in 2013 for these ballots, they were charged for 360,000 ballots. More evidence that this election fraud scheme is in place is that the Oregon Secretary of State and Multnomah County spent a full day with 3 attorneys to argue that they should not have to destroy leftover unused ballots after 8 p.m. on election night. During the hearing, they went to great lengths to discourage any change from ES&S to the Hart InterCivic election machines, as Clackamas County, the 3rd largest county in the state of Oregon, had done in the previous year. Now, the state officials are so fearful that their well-oiled election fraud system will be rogue county clerks who may seek to exchange ES&S with Hart, that they have put forth legislation to amend the Oregon Constitution.
Okay, so that's that. This is the definitive. I think I put a lot of effort in this, and they. Let's see. Where is this?
92,000 registered voters.
Okay, this is again. These are mostly under my government gone wrong with my ancient headshot from way back in the day. So you just click on government gone wrong. Okay, this is how it works. And then go to videos. Okay, and then that lists all my videos. This is a great one, a conversation with the guy this guy was amazing. I recruited him to run because we needed an attorney general candidate, and Oregon's so corrupt. The Republican, so-called Republican chair, lied to the the Republicans in the committee, and never found a candidate to run for attorney general so that the Democrat could run unopposed. And I wasn't going to have any of it, so I went around looking for a willing lawyer, because they have to be a lawyer to be an attorney general. And I remember this guy, he helped us out when we were doing the recounts, and he's a very honorable guy and the most well educated guy in Oregon, and one of the most well educated guys in the entire country. Undergrad, first he went to Phillips Exeter for high school and was the debate champion across the whole country. Then he went to Harvard. He was on the Harvard debate team while he was majoring in physics, so he wouldn't be bored, of course. And then he went off to Yale and got both his law degree and his MBA at the same time. But he can't stand the corruption either. So he was my attorney. He's running. I recruited him to run for attorney general. Did a write-in campaign over the entire state, and this not so trustworthy chair of the Republican Party that refused to find a candidate. He didn't send out word to all the chairs to get to write him in until like the night before. It was can of worms. He didn't get any help, and I was doing my best I could for his campaign. But he actually did really well in the considering in the election with all the fraud. And so we sued the Secretary of State of Oregon, who's now the governor of Oregon, Governor Brown. Now, she was Secretary of State Kate Brown, so that she would follow the laws that were already set up in the books, because she wasn't following the law so that they could facilitate the fraud. They essentially keep the extra leftover ballots. Probably did this with Roy Moore's race. Keep the leftover ballots, and then after they've lied to you and told you how their candidate won, they fill out the leftover extra ballots and put them into the system so that if anybody asks for a recount, then they have the ballots to match the count that they said it was. It's as crooked as the day is long. We've got to go to all paper ballots on election day only, and we have an even number of Democrats and Republicans at each polling place that counts the ballots and reports back to the county elections. Simple, easy. Got to go back. Got to go retro if we want to go honest for these elections. We can no longer. We all know all computers are rigged. All computers are rigged. Can be rigged. So why in the world would we trust our ballots to that? So anyway, please watch my videos. Then this channel. This is my other channel. This is the one that's gotten the warning. I haven't done that many videos on this government gone wrong one lately, but I have. Let's see, my channel. So here's my channel, Lisa Michaels, and then there's the videos. So now that lists all the videos. And this is my live one that I'm doing right now on my iPad. So that's it. I'm gonna call it quits tonight. I hope you guys had found this informative. I'm gonna try to update you on the latest that I've been learning. There's so much out there. We are in the middle of a political thriller novel that's unimaginably intricate, and the corruption is pervasive, and it crosses both party lines. So stay vigilant and keep yourselves, right with the Lord. And I want to say a quick parting prayer. Dear Jesus, we ask for discernment for all of the people watching, and we ask that you bless all the people watching and all of their relatives and everyone that they know, and help them to have a closer relationship with you, God. That's the whole reason we're down here. It's a testing ground so that the worthy people that have chosen to give their lives to you will be worthy to be in heaven. By asking for forgiveness of their sins and forgiving everyone who's ever hurt them, Lord. There's no upside for holding grudges. We all know this, and you've taught this in your book. This we pray in Jesus' name, amen. Okay, have a blessed day.